Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about a show I've never heard of before, and I decided to watch one episode and one episode only because it stars an actress who I really like. This show is called Room 104, and the episode is called Prank Call. And it stars Mary Mouser, the only mouse I like. Mary Mouser, it's just something about her, man. It's like she has this adorable, like, lovable quality about her. And when it comes out in both her acting and just her personality in general when she does like an interview. And she's becoming one of my like all-time favorites lately because like a lot of the actresses that I've like liked over like many decades, they're really not doing too much now. And I'm starting to like, get into like newer actresses and stuff, and she's one of them. The first thing I ever saw her on Body of Proof, which I only saw one episode of that, and I didn't even know who she was at that time. I only watched because the actress from Desperate Housewives and who voiced Lois Lane was in it. The second, but technically kind of the first thing I ever saw her in was a zombie show on Hulu called Freakish. Now, I really like Freakish. And she had a really good story arc for the first couple of episodes until her character got zombified. And it was so sad and tragic. And you can really see she was starting to like kind of break out and do like different type stuff. And it was just so sad to see like what happened to her character. But it's a really good show. If you like zombie stuff and you kind of getting tired of what's going on lately with like The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead and all the other ones, like check this one out. It's pretty cool. Now the third thing I ever saw her in was, everybody of course should know, is Cobra Kai, where she plays Danny Russo's daughter. And she is amazing in that episode. And it's funny how she got the role because she didn't even know she got cast in the show. And like the producers like called her house and she was asleep and her boyfriend woke her up. It's all like, hey, you got the part and all this other stuff. But yeah, man, it's just like she's just one of those type of people who has like this great personality, and it's just like, she's not like other actresses that are like trying to like push the envelope, push the bar, like Miley Cyrus or like that Bella Thorne girl. And it's just like, she's just like a really cool actress. So I decided, I wanted to see more stuff with her in there, because like, so I decided to like check out this Room 104 show, which like I've never heard of before, and it's a really interesting show. Okay, so Room 104, it was an HBO show, and it lasted for 4 seasons, and it aired in 2017, and then it ended in 2020. And then, so basically the premise of the show is just, you know, a bunch of people who stay in this room, each episode, and it's like a different genre. It's an anthology show. So it's different horror, thriller, and type of comedy type stuff. Each episode is only like 12 episodes, and it's like 20 minutes long, but it has a star-studded cast. So, and I like anthology type stuff, like Goosebumps, anything with R.L. Stine, that's really cool. I don't know, I might end up watching some more episodes because they have like a lot of stars in here I like. So, But because this isn't on streaming, you have to like buy the episode. I decided to buy this one. But man, I really want to see like more episodes because it's just an interesting, freaky kind of show. And one thing that made this episode really good, because I was like afraid that it might suck. Like, it's gonna be a sucky episode. But like, I was like really surprised because it's like I couldn't predict nothing. I couldn't predict not one thing in this entire episode, because you know how TV shows are. They're very like cliche, because TV, entertainment, movies, theater, all that stuff, radio. It's been around for like years and decades and centuries and stuff. And so they have a certain formula. And so, people are technically kind of like brainwashed to their formula. And so things become cliche. Like you expect this to happen and that to happen. But by watching this episode, I couldn't predict not one stinking thing. And I'm just like, whoa. And I couldn't like believe like this happened and then that happened. And then all of a sudden that happened. I'm just like, man, they had to do like a follow up on this, but they never did. I was like, oh, it's just like, It takes you by surprise, like really. So this is so it starts off with a family inside a hotel room and the dad and mom are arguing. While this is going on, the daughter is sitting on the floor staring at a blank TV and she's in this weird trance. Like she looks like morbid and demented and stuff. Like it literally looks like she's being brainwashed or she's possessed or something. The thing the parents are arguing about is that the mom is upset that the dad mentioned her large breasts to try to get like a job deal type thing or some kind of like refund, refinance, some type thing. A man named Bill. And the husband's all like, he wasn't like really insinuating nothing. It's just like, she has these huge like breasts and then she uses them for her benefit. So he's all like, why can't he? And she's all like, that's not the point and stuff. So they just argue like back and forth about that. And so, and then they doing this all while their daughter is in the room. Now you don't see the parents' faces. You just see like their bodies and their feet and stuff like that. And so the dad constantly, like the dad and the mom both are constantly saying the word like big tits, like in front of their daughter, and she's still in this like trance type thing. And then so they say they have to hurry up and leave, and then they leave. They don't even say goodbye to their daughter. Like they don't like touch her, they don't hug her, they don't kiss her, they don't say goodbye, they don't say like nothing. They're like completely like neglectful. So then the next scene you see the daughter, she's um watching like this kid cartoon show, and not just like any kid cartoon show, like preschool kid cartoon stuff, like Disney Junior, Nick Jr., like PBS type stuff, like little kiddie stuff. So and then she's a teenage girl, probably anywhere between like 15, I'll say. That's probably like how old she's playing or something like that. And it's just weird. She's watching like this little itty bitty kid show. And then so she decides that she's gonna make a prank call because she's bored. And so she dials like a random number just from the top of her head. And she makes this prank call. Now we've all made prank calls before. I know I did when I was younger because I saw Bart Simpson do it. And I used to prank a friend of mine in the neighborhood and she didn't know like who it was because I never said anything. And she used to get pissed off mad. But then once ID Caller came around, I stopped doing it. And so she's telling the lady, like, she thinks there's been like a missed call here and somebody from that house called. And the lady's all like, no, I don't remember calling. Then, out of the blue, the girl's all like, well, maybe it was your husband. And then she starts talking like maybe your husband, like, was thinking about me from that time we spent together. And she's just talking to the lady, like, all like sedacious and stuff about what her husband was doing. And the woman gets pissed and like just hangs up the phone. And then the girl just like she just says the lady's name in a like in a prude kind of way. So it's like okay, like there's not much to go about this girl, but we know she likes to pull like prank calls, and we know for some bizarre reason she likes to like watch little kitty stuff, and sometimes she just likes to stare like at a blank TV. So after that, she goes into like the restroom, and she's putting her hair down. She's just looking at herself in the mirror, not in a like odd kind of way, just like looking, but with a blank expression on her face. And she's trying to, and then she's pretending to be her mom and having the conversation that her and her dad did about that Bill guy. And as she's doing this, like she's like touching the lower part of her shirt and she's slowly pulling it up. And she keeps talking about like, come on, Bill, you know you want to do it. You know you like these big tits. And she's just like talking like all sexy and salacious. And then it's like she starts to see that she pulled her shirt all the way up to like the bottom part of her bra. And so in her bra, you can see the pattern of it. It's like a little kitty bra and stuff. So it's not like a typical like bra. It's like something like, like probably like a kid would probably not kid, but no, like, I guess somewhat training or somewhat like a teenage type thing, like a goody two shoe type thing. And so she gets freaked out and then she stops. So it's obvious she is a goody two shoes, but it's kind of like she's kind of like bored of being one, and she kind of like wants to know what this like wild side type thing is like. And when it came to her bra. Okay, it wasn't like a train bra. It's kind of like, you know how you have like a grown woman who has like a big kid, and she has like stuffed animals everywhere, and then her underwear has like all these little animal print patterns and like silly little stuff. It's kind of like that, you know. I have to say, it was kind of weird hearing Mary Mouser say the word "big tits." It's because she has like this innocence to her when you look at her, and this goody goodiness to her, you know, and stuff. But there is like an adult side like to her, you know, when you like see her like Instagram posts. But they're very like not salacious and stuff. They're very like tamed and mature, you know. And so it was just interesting, just to hear her say that, which she says a lot in this episode, by the way. So the next scene, we see her by a window, and she's wearing one of her mom's red dresses, and it's a very sexy dress. And she's playing with her parents' cigarettes. She lights one, and then she takes like a puff, and she starts coughing. You can tell this is her first time trying to smoke a cigarette. So she is a very innocent type person. Well, she's still bored, and she goes and she calls another random number. But it's like this really happy family who answer machine she got. And it's the mom, it's the dad, and it's the two little kids. And they're just like a happy type of Barney and Friends type family, you know? And so she hangs up because she's irritated because she doesn't want to ruin like another marriage, almost kind of like she did with the first prank call. So then she wanders around a little bit more and she gets bored. And so then she decides like watch some more TV. And as she's watching some more kid shows again, like preschool kid shows, you hear like this really like slashery horror movie type music in the background, and she's just staring at the TV because she's just like getting irritated. So then she runs back to the phone and she calls up some guy. And so first she's a little startled because, you know, it was a guy this time and not like a woman. So then she starts talking to him. His name is George, and he tells her that. She gives him a fake name at first. And so when she's talking to him, you can tell she's flirting with him, but he's not flirting with her. And so, like, next thing you know, she starts like talking a little sexy to him and everything. And but she won't tell him her name. But then all of a sudden, um, something, what was it? She tells him that, like, you know, he's flirting with her. And he's all like, no, I'm not. And she's like, oh, yes, you are, George. You're flirting with me. He says, I'm really not. And he's all like, you know what? I'm going to leave. This is a prank call. And she like trying her best to like get him to stay because he said, you know, he's a lonely guy. He doesn't want to get pranked. It's not cool for her to like, you know, play with his emotions. Well, she gets upset by this and she decides like to cool off a little bit. And then she's all like, you know, I'm not going to play with your emotions. I'm just going to be 100% serious with you and stuff like that. He's like, oh yeah, prove it. Tell me your name. And so she hesitates, but then she's all like, it's Adrian. So now we finally get to know this girl's name. Like all this time, and we finally get to know her name. And so like, then she tells him like she'll be serious with him because she's lonely too. And then they start talking. And then out of the blue, she starts to have phone sex with him. And he is just like listening. And she's just telling him a story. Telling him like, you know, she tells him first to like turn off the lights at his place. And he's like, all right, but are you doing the same thing? And she's like, wait, what, huh? Because you can tell this is her first time doing this. So he's all like, it ain't gonna be no fun if you ain't gonna join in. So then like, she's like, all right. So she turns off the lights because you get the impression that she really wants to get into this and she really wants to make him happy and stuff. And he has a very suave, debonair type voice to him. And so next thing you know, she starts like, telling him like, you know, like she's building the scene of what's going on, like him going in the backyard, going in the shed, seeing the hot tub, her being there. She's talking about her big tits and everything, and talking about how he's like taking her, and like she's calling his name out in like ecstasy. And then, like, well, by the way, now it's weird hearing her talk like this because her voice sounds identical to Hilary Duff. Before Hilary Duff started doing more like adult type mature shows and stuff. So I just get this whole like Lizzie McGuire like picture in my head when I hear her talk and talking like this. Next thing you know, he starts making some noises. And she is freaked out by these noises because you can tell he was playing with his shillelagh and everything. And he was squirting out the mustard or the mayonnaise out the jar, if you know what I mean. And so she's just like, she doesn't even say nothing. Like her eyes just tell the story. And then he's all like, "Are you there, Adrian? Are you there?" She just hangs up on him. Like, cause she wasn't expecting him to like have like like to actually like do it himself and stuff because she's so young and she just wasn't expecting that. And so she's like freaked out. And then of course, what does she does after that? Watching more kid shows, a unicorn show of all that. And so it freaks her out so bad that when she's watching this like unicorn show, she has on like completely different clothes now. She's wearing like a really huge like pink sweater and stuff. Oh, and I just want to point out, while she's doing all this, she's like eating Funyuns. Boy, let me tell you, I love those things growing up. That was my go-to snack when I was a kid. But, you know, it's changed now to like Doritos and Sun Chips. But, that was some good chips back then. So while watching her show, she decides she's gonna get a drink of water at the little fridge thing. And then she hears like a loud knock on the door. And it's like a startling type knock. And so like, but it turns out to be the housekeeper lady. And so she's all like, "Oh no, I don't want no fresh towels." So then she goes back to her bed and she's watching TV. And then you see her face. And in the background, you see her window, but the camera makes it to where everything in the background is very blurry, right? And then so when your face is on, when you're looking at her, because the camera is directly on her face, you start to see something moving in the background near the window, right? And then you hear like a strange noise, like the window is opening. And then when she turns around, bam, there's like a dude standing in her room. I'm like, holy crap. She is scared shitless. Like, I mean, and I was too. And I don't get scared when I'm watching like horror movies and slasher type stuff, but this freaked me out. And I had like a feeling in my head, it has to be George. Like, it has to be him. Like, who else would it be? Like, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe it's just like a random stranger and stuff. But he didn't look the way he sounds. So it's like a really heavyset guy with scruffy hair and a beard. And then she doesn't say like a word. She just keeps completely still and quiet. And then he tells her straight up, "It's me, George." I'm like, ooh, I knew it. Like, I just knew it. And then so like the music starts getting like really creepy and scary. And then he's like looking at her with this kind of like upset face, and he's telling her, "Well, don't you want to rip your shirts off and show me those big tits like you said on the phone?" He's like, "Come on, Adrian, I know that's what you want to do." And he's saying it in like this really creepy kind of way. I'm like, oh Lord, he's gonna get her. and so like, and so like, then he starts walking, like he's creeping up to her, not just walking, he's creeping up to her and stuff. She gets scared and she takes off running towards the bathroom door. And he chases after her and he gets ahead of her and he slams the bathroom door. So she's up now against the wall and she can't move, and he's slowly walking up to her, taunting her, telling her all the stuff that she said on the phone. And then he puts his head really close to hers. Like really close, like, oh God, what's gonna happen to this girl? He's gonna kill her or assault her or like something, you know what I'm saying? And then he puts his head so close to her, it's almost like he's sniffing her almost, but you don't hear no sniffing noise. And so then he pulls back and then he walks away from her as she's like scared, just like looking at him and stuff. And he's all like, "You are one lucky girl." I'm just like, wait, what? Oh, wait, before he tells her that, when he was like more towards the window and creeping, he told her how he found her. Cause I was wondering like, how did you find this girl? And so like he told her caller ID. He used caller ID. He tracked out where the number's from, and then like he somehow I guess he must have asked around the front desk and like found out what room it is and some creepy stalkery type stuff. So then when he started talking about like she's the lucky girl, I'm like totally. I'm telling you, man, this episode is hard to predict what's going to happen. Like it really truly is. So yeah, he's all like, "Oh, you're lucky you got me and not some like crazy person." And then he starts to tell her what she did was like wrong. You shouldn't be pranking people. You shouldn't be trying to have like phone sex with people. And because you could have got like a really creepy, scary guy instead of getting him. Dude, you're like in her room right now. And she's all by herself. And she's a teenage girl. And you are a grown 40-something-year-old man. He's literally trying to pretend like he's a hero. And then he shows her a picture of his family. His family. Now this dude was having phone sex and he has a family. In the picture is his wife and his 2 little girls. And he tells her, "I'm a man of God. And like I was here to save you and you need to be glad like, you got me and not no strange crazy person." And so she's still looking freaked out. And she's not saying a word. And then all of a sudden, like, the expression on her face kind of changes a little bit. It looks like she's almost getting madder. And he walks up to her face again, and he's all like, "You should thank me." Oh, no, he's all like, "Do you understand what you did was wrong?" And she doesn't say nothing. He's all like, "Do you understand?" He's getting like forceful and stuff, like verbally. And she doesn't say nothing. She doesn't nod her head, not nothing. So then he walks back and he's all like, "Well, at least I know I did right. And at least I know I saved you. At least your parents can be thankful of that." Once again, dude, you're a 40-something man in a teenage girl's room. So then he starts walking towards the door. He opens it and it looks like he's about to leave. I'm like, whew, thank God. But then the music, he slowly closes the door, turns around, and he gets pissed. He's pissed because she won't thank him. And he's getting angry about a second. And he's all like, "I understand your generation is stupid and y'all do like all these pranking type stuff, but you could have been seriously hurt and you should at least thank me because I'm a man of God and blah, 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 blah." And then he's all like, "You know what? I could have been a crazy man with a gun." And then he whips out a gun. And then so he's all like, "I could be a person with a gun telling you to take your clothes off and show me those big tits. And if you don't show me them, then I could have shot you." He's pretending to be like somebody else doing that. He's like, "Now you see how lucky you are to have me?" Then the most unpredictable thing happens. The music's getting creepier. And so when I say she's taunting him, I mean she is taunting him. And she constantly just saying over and over, "George, you want me in a hot tub. You want to see my big tits." He's like, "No, I'm a man of God. Men that look at stuff like that are evil." And she's all like, "Oh, George, but once you see these big old titties, you won't like be no man of God no more." And I'm just like, oh my God. And she says the word big tits 12 times in this entire episode. Oh, Mary Mouser. And so like then she starts like touching her shirt and she starts lifting up to like her stomach and she's creeping up very slow to him and the music's getting like more eerie. And then so next thing you know, he starts to pray and he starts to say like a Bible verse and she's all like, "Oh, it's gonna happen, George, and why don't you just turn your head, George, because you're looking, George, because you want to see these big tits." And then so it's like he's like, no, I don't," but he's staring at her. And he won't turn his head. And so she knows what he wants to see. He's all like, "But you're just a child." And she's all like, "Oh, but that's what you like about me, George, that I'm so young. And these things are so huge." And then she's all like, "Look away, George. If you don't want to look away now." And she rips her shirt completely off. The way, you don't see her naked on the show. You just see like the top part of her, like the shoulder area and like her back. And then he's all like, he looks at her. He puts his gun in his mouth and then bam, he like blows his brains out and there's blood on the back of the wall. And she's just looking like, oh my God, he actually did it. And she's just staring and panting. And it's just like, because she couldn't believe he actually did it. But the look on her face, you can't tell if she's really freaked out or is she just like, whatever type thing, you know? And it ends just like that. And I'm just like, no, we need like a follow-up episode because I'm only like 20 minutes long. I'm just like, no, man, we gotta see what happens after this. Then any kind of like repercussions. Is she gonna do this like again? You know? And it's just like, ugh. It's just, this was a freaky episode. When I say you cannot predict what is gonna happen, you seriously cannot predict what is going to happen in this episode. And it was just like an off the wall type thing I've never seen before. And of course, this is like an HBO show, so you know they were willing to go there. But man, like I've never even heard nobody talk about this show, and it's just like, whoo. Alrighty, well I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.